Imagine waking up tomorrow and discovering that every single person on Earth has stopped paying taxes. The United States collects $4.9 trillion annually, the European Union another $7 trillion. And suddenly, it all stops. The money stays in people's pockets. Sounds like freedom, doesn't it? But here's the paradox. Within 24 hours, the world begins to unravel. Within a week, civilization itself starts to fracture. And within a month, you'd be begging for taxes to come back. This is a journey into the architecture of modern society, where we'll discover that taxes aren't theft. They're the invisible foundation holding everything together. And when that foundation crumbles, what replaces it isn't freedom. It's chaos. Hash. Day 0. Midnight. No more taxes. By morning, governments realize something catastrophic. The money they've budgeted for, the money they've already promised to spend, it's not coming. The United States government spends approximately $13 billion every single day. Germany, $1.3 billion, all operating on the assumption that tax revenue will arrive like clockwork. But now the clock has stopped. Here's what most people don't understand. Governments don't save up before they spend. They spend first, then collect later. Every police officer's salary, every social security check, every infrastructure project, it's all advanced credit based on tax revenue. When that assumption breaks, the equation collapses instantly. But on day 1, nothing seems wrong. Your electricity still works, police cars still patrol, everything appears normal. Because the system has momentum, the collapse isn't immediate. It's a slow-motion avalanche. And the people standing at the bottom don't see it coming until it's too late. By late afternoon, credit rating agencies understand what's happening. Government bonds, once the safest investment on Earth, are now worthless paper. Because a bond is a promise to repay with future tax revenue. No taxes means no repayment. The global bond market, worth over $130 trillion, evaporates overnight. Pension funds lose half their value in a single day. Retirement accounts vanish. This is just day 1. The quiet day, the day before anyone really understands what's coming. Day 3 arrives. Paychecks. Across the United States, 22 million government employees expect their salaries. Teachers, police officers, firefighters, sanitation workers. The direct deposit doesn't arrive. And suddenly, millions are working without pay. Would you go to work if you weren't getting paid? Some would, but most can't afford to. By day 4, police departments report 40% of officers calling in sick. By day 5, it's 60%. Fire stations sit half empty. Public schools close because teachers don't show up. The first visible signs appear in cities. Garbage collection stops. Within days, trash piles up on street corners. Rats appear in numbers not seen in decades. Public transportation collapses. Traffic lights malfunction because the technicians maintaining them aren't working. The small army of invisible workers keeping infrastructure functional has disappeared. By day 7, hospitals face crisis. Emergency rooms are overwhelmed because there are fewer staff. Ambulances sit unused because EMTs don't come to work. The 911 system becomes unreliable. Response times go from minutes to hours, then to never. The realization spreads through society like a virus. There is no safety net anymore. If your house catches fire, no one is coming. The social contract has been voided, and in its absence, something older emerges. Fear. Modern capitalism runs on credit, and credit runs on confidence. When governments stop collecting taxes, confidence evaporates. Banks hold trillions in government bonds, now worthless. Their capital reserves vanish overnight. They're required by law to stop lending. No more mortgages. No business loans. No credit cards. The flow of money through the economy simply stops. Companies react with massive layoffs. Unemployment spikes to 20% within 2 weeks, then 30%. Stock markets don't just crash, they cease to function. The Dow Jones loses 80% of its value. Wealth accumulated over decades vanishes in days. And here's the cruel irony. People think they're richer because they're not paying taxes, but their money is worth less every hour. Because without tax revenue, governments can't service debts. Their currencies collapse. Inflation explodes. In week 2, prices double, then triple. The dollar, euro, yen, all lose value simultaneously. Because currency is backed by the ability of governments to tax. Remove taxation, and currency becomes worthless paper. Bread costs 10 times what it did last week. That's hyperinflation. It happened in Weimar Germany, in Zimbabwe, in Venezuela. Every time governments lost the ability to collect revenue, by week 3, civil order breaks down. Civilization is a thin veneer. Underneath sits something more primal, and it resurfaces quickly when law and order disappear. Crime explodes. In major cities, gangs operate openly. They're not just criminals anymore. They're the new power structure. Entire neighborhoods fall under gang rule. Business owners pay protection money to local strongmen. It's not chaos, it's reversion. A return to feudalism. 2 warlords. Wealthy areas hire private security. Gated communities become fortresses. The rich create their own protected enclaves. This is what happens in every failed state. The strong prey on the weak, and the wealthy wall themselves off. The middle class suffers most. They don't have wealth to buy protection, but they have enough to be worth robbing. The entire architecture of middle-class stability disintegrates in weeks. Government assistance vanishes. 20 million Americans on food assistance suddenly have no way to eat. Homelessness becomes a plague. Disease follows: cholera, typhoid. Infections that wealthy nations eradicated decades ago return because public health infrastructure requires maintenance. It requires paid workers. It requires taxes. By day 30, infant mortality triples. Life expectancy drops by 10 years. In a single month, people die from infections that should be treatable. Modern medicine has reverted to 19th century standards. Water systems failed. Treatment plants shut down. Within a month, water becomes unsafe to drink. Cities that enjoyed clean running water for over a century face contamination. And when water fails, everything fails. Electrical grids collapse. Rolling blackouts begin. Then permanent blackouts. No electricity means no refrigeration. Food spoils. No communication. No fuel pumps. Hospitals run on backup generators until fuel runs out. Then patients on life support die. Roads become dangerous. Bridges collapse. Supply chains fracture completely. Shelves empty in days and stay empty. This is how a first world nation becomes third world in a month. Not through war, through the simple removal of the tax system. None of this is theoretical. Somalia, 1991. Government collapses. No tax collection. The nation fragments. Warlords rule through force. Famine kills 300,000 people. For 3 decades, continuous violence and suffering. Life expectancy drops to 55 years. Venezuela, 2016 to present. State revenue collapses. Inflation hits 1 million%. People lose 20 pounds because food is unaffordable. 5 million flee the country. That's 17% of the population choosing to become refugees. These aren't anomalies. This is what happens when states lose the ability to collect revenue. Every single time. Without exception, taxes solve the collective action problem. There are goods that benefit everyone but that no individual wants to pay for alone. National defense, roads, courts, police, public health. These are public goods. Markets systematically fail to provide them. Not because of any flaw, but because when benefits are dispersed, but costs are concentrated. Rational self-interest leads to underprovision. Before modern taxation, societies tried feudalism, tribute systems, voluntary contributions. Every attempt to organize complex society without systematic taxation failed. The modern tax system allows millions of strangers to cooperate, to build infrastructure benefiting everyone. It's not perfect, but it's the best solution humanity has found. So what actually happens when everyone stops paying taxes? Within 24 hours, financial markets collapse. Within a week, public services cease. Within 2 weeks, the economy enters freefall. Within a month, civil order breaks down. Within 6 months, society has regressed a century, and people are desperate for any authority that can restore order. Because that's the pattern. When states fail, people don't celebrate freedom. They beg for structure. The Weimar Republic's collapse led to Nazi Germany. The Russian Revolution's chaos led to Stalin. Every power vacuum gets filled, and rarely by something better. Every morning you wake up in a safe home, drink clean water, drive on maintained roads. That entire day is made possible by the tax system. It's not perfect. There's waste, there's corruption. Democratic systems exist to address those problems. The alternative isn't freedom, it's chaos. And chaos is something no one actually wants to live through.